And good evening, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of You Get What You Get. I'm Ricky Hampton with my great friends, MdDougal and Tim Turner, coming to you on a Tuesday evening. Hope everybody's doing well. It is tough times here in the Motor City. Didn't nobody win over the weekend. The football team lost, baseball team lost, all the colleges lost, the Red Wings lost. Wow. And I lost my dog. I mean, it's just terrible.
Wait, hold up. You lost your dog?
Just
I'm like,
oh, man. That's how bad it is here in the Motor City.
Because that would be the first thing I would say.
But this is a new week. We got a fresh start, and hope everybody out there is doing well. And it's great to see you too. What's going on, guys?
I'm fresh off of homecoming weekend, so I'm still dragging, but I'm good.
Yeah. It's that time of year for HBCUs, and it's, there was GHO this past weekend. So this is the greatest homecoming on
earth.
On campus. And so, there's several more to come, and we've got some real issues with some of these homecomings. I don't know if it's fair to where to assign blame, and I know that I'll probably get some pushback on some of the causes for some of the reasons there are these issues. But we'll talk about that later. But tonight really is to start off talking about something that happened a couple of weeks ago in Nashville, where we witnessed to a book reading of an outstanding book from a pretty good author as well.
Pretty good or great author?
Outstanding.
I would say great, outstanding.
Was there at Hadley Park Library there for Ricky Hampton and his book reading for Cumberland Rising, and it's about Ted Rhodes and it's the black golf mecca of Ted Rhodes Golf Course. And see, he said Ed Rhodes till he put the T up there, but Ted Rhodes Golf Course. And Ricky had read excerpts from his book, A Packed, do you hear me, people? Packed Hadley Park Library.
Overflow.
People spilling out into the hallways, listening to Ricky. Listening to Ricky cry, he started sobbing. And then two, listening to the books themselves, reading the excerpts, and being there with his editor. There was just an outstanding afternoon. I mean, it felt like it zoomed by because everything was so riveting. He had he had the Amen Quarter to the side, who corroborated every single story, all of his boys.
But I would say his daughter introducing him was amazing.
Yes. Jealous introduction him was outstanding. Yeah. It was just good to see people coming from near and far coming in just to come take part in this. But Rick, I want you to talk about Cumberland Rising and Ted Rhodes Golf Course and the black golf mecca that Nashville has been. So it's all you have.
And then when we'll be able to get that book?
Right. There you go.
Well, the book will be released in January of 26. Is when it's coming out, and we'll have pre-order information coming very soon on that. But I am deeply humbled. I was taken aback by the turnout of the book, and it's really a testament to my father's legacy and Joe Hampton, who was the pro at Cumberland Rhodes for 43 years, the great Ted Rhodes, a legendary figure, and Cumberland Ted Rhodes Golf Course, and its importance in the Nashville community. And guys, when I started, my editor, Carlton Winfrey, who, Tim, I think you knew Carlton previous.
I did not. We just traveled in the same circles, and he knows the same things that I do. With a close knit.
He's right in our era of NABJ. My editor, longtime editor, was now a columnist at the Seattle Times. He flew in overnight with his lovely wife Carlton, and you know,
Lovely wife who?
huh? His lovely wife Carlette. I'm sorry,
You got-
lovely wife. But
I was
so
kind of processing that in my head too. So
yeah.
yes,
yeah,
I was
but
thinking. I don't think that's what she said her name was.
Carlette and Carlton, and you
Yes,
know, it's so
oh,
funny.
that's so cool.
We were figuring out what, you know, because there's not a lot of time. What do you read about? And I thought it was important to just set the climate for what my father and his contemporaries had to operate in Nashville at that time. Because they had to overcome all that before they could even get to the golf course. So when this book is really, it's certainly a golf book, but it's also a history book on Black Nashville and the four HBCUs, this Tennessee State, Harvard Medical College, American Baptist College. And I, I talk about the importance those institutions had on our community, as well as Cumberland Roads Golf Course. And, and I think I mentioned it during the reading. It was a safe space for African Americans in Nashville. It was a place you could go, let your hair down, be yourself. And I was just a little kid running around there, and was able to grasp all that. I feel so fortunate to be able to do that. Tim, I don't know if that's how I open this up. I don't know if that answers your opening question.
It does, but I'm thinking right now you're talking about just how it was a safe space. But I'm thinking, celebrities were always around you as well. I'm thinking, was there one story you told about boxing with
Yeah, Joe Lewis,
Joe Lewis, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Talk about that, Rick. I mean, the
the
stuff
great,
like that
the
happens.
great Joe Lewis was a regular at Cumberland Golf Course because he was great friends with Ted Rhodes. And Joe Lewis plays an important role in the evolution of black golf. Up until 1961, the PGA had in their constitution, the game is to be played by members of the Caucasian race only. And Joe Lewis challenged that. He funded the lawsuit uh, that eventually led to them settling out of court and decided to drop that rule in 1961. And he, but he and Ted Rose were great friends. Ted was his teacher. Joe was an avid golfer, and he come through there. He see me. He said, "Put up your dukes." And
And did you?
yeah, but I don't really understand. This is the Joe Lewis. When Jackie Robinson would come, I didn't know this is Jackie Robinson or Don Newcomb or Campanella. These were just, they came out of golf course. And the reason they came, one was with Teddy Rhodes, and there was another guy I don't think I got to talk about a lot. His name was William Bridgeforth, William Souza Bridgeforth, and they called him Mr. Sue. He
Mr.
was a,
Suit?
Mr. Sue. He owned the Modern Era Club in Nashville, Rhythm and Blues, is where Etta James recorded her legendary
Mm.
album, Etta Rocks the House. B.B. King, James Brown, uh, 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 Arthur Price Sock, Billy Eckstein, Aretha Franklin, they all played there. And Sue, Mr. Sue was also a noted gambler. He booked the numbers game.
Mm.
And again, I'm this little kid running around the golf course. You know what? I've come to realize I was like the Cumberland Golf Course pet. I was, because I'm just running around wherever my father went. I was with him. He was either playing golf or working on the course or hanging under the shade tree, which I didn't get to talk about. And I just picked up on all this information. And Tim, as a sports writer, you appreciate this. Even at a young age, I knew that's what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to write about sports. And I think that was from being around these guys, hearing them talk about sports all the time. I would wait for the Nashville banner to come every day, run out there and catch it. I could see that white Chevrolet coming right now. And the guy would throw it to me out the window, and I caught it on the fly most of the time.
I was gonna say, come on now, come on, Rick, come on.
And I would go in their tree, and I would rewrite the stories
Wow.
from because we didn't have Sports Center, we didn't have all that. So I would imagine Willie Mays going 3 for 4, and I did that. And the guys picked up. How does this little guy know everybody's batting average? Why does he know the Yankees starting lineup? So I could go in there and talk to them, and even though I'm 6, 7 years old, I could say, nah, man, Willie Mays is the best center fielder, not Mickey Mantle. You know, guys talking to the chick. So I was one of the fellas, even though in the book, I actually write about how Richard Pryor grew up in a brothel and saw a lot of things that he probably shouldn't have seen. Cumberland was not a brothel, but in similar ways, I saw things I probably shouldn't. I heard things I probably couldn't see.
Was that in the book?
That's in the book. That's in
Okay.
the book.
I can't wait. I need to know what chapter so we can get to that.
I actually talk about my father, as I mentioned in the writing, Joe Hampton. I mean, he was a just incredible man, but he was no nonsense. He was going to respect you, and he wanted respect in turn. And he would invite anybody to the course to play, even whites, even when they weren't supposed to, as I talked about in the book. One time he invited a white Cub Scout troop to come to the course in the afternoon, and me being the shadow, I'm right there with him. I'm playing around with the little white guys. We're having a good time. At the end of the night, the troop is leaving. I'm standing on the front porch with my father. Everybody's waving goodbye, goodbye. And I said, bye, white crackers.
No.
Oh, way to go.
Wait, you left that part out before.
I thought this was going to be a sweet story about sending those kids home with cornrows and their parents being upset.
White crackers. He looked down at me like,
What?
where did you get that from?
Yes. Do tell, where did you get that from?
And I want to tell him where I learned that under the shade tree with the guys, because all the guys would hang under the shade tree. I didn't tell him that because I didn't want to stop hanging under the shade tree.
That makes sense. Yeah. Oh, wow.
So, of course, that was not behind that night, because he was a guy. He felt if you wanted to play golf, you could play golf, and you treated all people with dignity and respect. And see, I learned from him, you can do that and still be pro-Black and for your people and want to see your people achieve without bringing anybody else down. That's something I've always tried to carry with me.
So that's outstanding, Rick. I just, you had a bunch of great stories. You were like talking about your life at home and how your dad did that, but your mom was the one who pretty much ran things. And speaking of her running, there's a story about you playing football as well, Rick.
I was hoping this. I was going to ask about that.
Yeah. Well, my mother, my father was let me say this right quick. 1957, born in Meharry Hospital, segregated, came home to Cumberland Golf Course. There was an apartment above the clubhouse, segregated golf course, went to segregated schools until 1972. So I lived my life in this Black community. And and all the things we did were within our community. Because Nashville was, as I mentioned, the racial divide was just very deep, very deep. Uh, but to my mother, I just want to kick that in there. But to my mother, when my father was out doing his thing, my mother ran the clubhouse. She worked the concession stand and she worked the pro shop. And my dad devoted his life to golf. And honestly, I don't know if all my siblings had, I know my siblings didn't have, my siblings had much different relationship with my father than I did. They all loved him and all that. But me and Pops were like, right? Because I loved golf to the level he did. And my other brother, Joey, was a big time golfer. Everybody else dabbled in it. So that made me closer. I got to hear all these stories. But while Dad was out there doing that, Mom was running the place. She ran the place.
And then she also helped you during a football game, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna get to that. She would not only would she run the clubhouse, she would go to all the community school events, and all that stuff. And she would go to all my football games. John Early Elementary School. I was this great middle linebacker, Tim. And there was a play. I didn't get into details of the play at the reading, but I held off the guard with my left hand, bended off the tackle, came in, made a great hit, ball popped loose. You know all that's a lie, right? I'm just.
I was just looking at something
I was like, I don't remember that.
Like you're Ray Lewis, but okay. Are you
the
sure
ball
you're
ended up on the ground tree, so I pounce on it, and everybody pounces on me. I'm in the 6th grade, so the scrum you see every week when there's a fumble, and I'm at the bottom because the ball gets jostled around, maybe 30 seconds or so, and I hear his voice, "Get off my baby." I hear his voice, "Get off my baby." I'm like, damn, that voice is familiar, and it shouldn't be this close. And I looked up, and it was my mom. Hazel Hampton ran out on the 50-yard line to get me
Get off my baby.
Get off my baby.
Get off my baby.
We need T-shirts like that. Get off my baby.
That she was just a wonderful person, and she did not play, man. My junior year of high school, I spent every day at the golf course. I mean, I'd go to school, go play golf, I hang out. Even until I left for Virginia Union, that's what I did. So I'm my junior year of high school, Tree. I got my ride now. I got my little fro working.
I need to see those photos.
I found out about girls. A couple of girls told me I had cute freckles, so I'm feeling myself. So I come home. I come to the golf course one day, and Mom's in there talking. I come up and I interrupted her conversation. And she kind of stepped back. She said, "Don't you see me talking?" I said, "Yeah, but Mom, let me tell you this." I gave her a kiss. She said, "Boy, don't you see me talking?" I said, "Yeah, I see you talking." She said, "Who you talking to like that?" She has coffee next to her. And all of a sudden, the coffee's in my face.
Oh, wow. She didn't play. You're right.
I'm like, okay. The thing about the coffee was just hot enough to scare the hell out of me. And it was just warm enough where it didn't do anything to me. I'm like, "Mom, what you doing?" And the guys in the clubhouse, including Harvey Bradbury, who saw the whole thing, just started laughing. She said, "Boy, you go back out this door and come back in here and learn some manners."
I guess you did, right?
And of course I did. But Harvey Bradbury said, and then the guys just laughing. She said, "Boy, ain't you learned not to mess with Miss Hamp yet?" I said, "Apparently not, man."
You know better. You knew better.
There you go.
You're excited.
Yeah,
But you were talking about how, you guys had to overcome so much, but you guys excelled despite of it. And that's the thing about with Ted Rhodes. I mean, he was a great golfer, and he eventually got his recognition from other people. And talk about that. Was it Sam Snead is when he was going up against?
Sam Snead.
Yeah.
In 52 and 54, he battled Sam Snead down to the wire at the St. Paul Open in Minnesota. He had Sam by 2 shots. The first in I could have these years mixed around, but it's 2 years they battled. In 52, he had Sam by 2 shots. Sam caught him and beat him, and then he trailed Sam in a couple of years later and couldn't catch him. I mean, he finished second to Sam Snead. There's no shame in Sam Snead beating you. And Sam was so impressed with his game. And there were other times he played. At the 48 U.S. Open, Ted Rhodes shot 67 at the Los Angeles Country Club in the first round of the U.S. Open. And he struggled after that. But it just shows how good he was. And Sam Snead has 82 PGA Tour victories, the same number as Tiger Woods, although Sam's is really taking nothing from Sam. He was tremendous. But his is a little tainted because he's got like 7 team championships, and Tiger has 82 victories. I assure you, if that was the other way around, they would be trying to
wouldn't count. They wouldn't count. Just like there's a guy, Furman Bisher, used to be a columnist here in Atlanta.
Absolutely.
And he hated Tiger. He did everything in the world to denigrate him to the point. I think hate may be strong, but I know he was not a fan because Tiger won all 4 majors, but it was over 2 years.
Right, Tiger Slam.
Because he didn't do it all in 1 year, he didn't want to recognize the greatness of winning all 4 of those majors.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's just the insanity of that. I bet it had been, Bobby Jones, it would have been something totally different.
No doubt.
There's no doubt, and that I talked about the racism or ignorance of the sports writing community of that time, and it was definitely some of both. It's stunning, and I think the great thing about it was eye-opening for me, and I learned about the guy Raymond Johnson in Nashville when they opened Ted Rhodes Golf Course. Come to golf course in 54. He said it would never work. Blacks should just be caddies, and blacks playing golf is a novelty. And I'm thinking, dude, you got one of the greatest golfers in the world right here in your city, in Ted Rhodes. But they didn't, of course, they didn't acknowledge that. And obviously, he was proven wrong. And every stuff like that went on all the time. But then you had somebody like Fred Russell, the legendary sports editor at the Nashville Banner, who actually hired me into the business when he found out Joe Hampton was my father, I'm sure. I would like to think it was the great clips I sent, but I think he saw Hampton and said, "Oh, get that dude a try." Who pushed my father to be the golf pro? What Fred Russell would do, he was a member at Bellmead Country Club Tree, where my father grew up as a caddy. My father went there at 11 years old, was the youngest thing out there. Ted Rhodes was 6, 7 years older than him, and he became my dad's big brother, and my father idolized Ted. But Fred Russell saw something in my father. And even when my father moved up the ranks at Bellmead as far as you could, to the point where he was working as an assistant in the pro shop in 1943, actually giving lessons to white golfers at Bellmead Country Club in 1943 because he was so knowledgeable of the game, and he just had this gift for people. But what Freddie Russell would do, Mr. Russell, Anytime somebody would come by there, anytime the pros would come in town to do exhibitions, he would introduce my father to them. He introduced him to Sam Snead, he introduced him to Jack Nicklaus, he introduced him to Arnold Palmer, and he talked to him about golf. Mr. Russell was also a noted practical joke, famous. Every April Fool's, he wrote a column, a prank column that was in the paper. Well, after Dad met Sam Snead, and they were talking about, Sam Snead was always a great player, never a great putter. He and Dad were talking about putting. So Mr. Russell pens this note and sends it to Dad. Joe, thank you for the putting lesson. It's really going to help me. Sam Snead. My dad was so happy to have this note.
I bet.
And Mr. Russell said, man, no. Joe, I'm sorry. I did. And some people may think that was cool, but that was Fred Russell. Everybody was a potential victim of Fred Russell's pranks. So, but he saw something in him. When that opportunity came, he said, hey, this guy could do this job and do it well. So always a lot of respect for Mr. Russell.
But there were a lot of firsts that came out of that golf course, and it's a lot of people who folks would recognize who played there. I know you mentioned Lee Elder. I don't know if it was Charles. It was Charles Sifford. Did he come through there?
Everybody came.
Okay.
And, the title of the book is Cumberland Rising. I just happen to have a thing here. Too much shadow.
Just happen to have it here.
The extraordinary story of Ted Rose Golf Course, Black Golf's Mecca. And the reason I came up with that is because this is where everybody came to prove themselves as players, because it was home of Ted Rhodes, who was the greatest golfer of that generation by far. And so Lee Elder lived in Nashville. And all these guys were caddies, Tree. All these guys were caddies. Lee Elder, Charlie Sifford, Pete Brown, George Johnson out of Atlanta. Gosh, I can't even think of all of them. Jim Dent, Chuck Thorpe. They all got their starts as a Tree.
I'm still here.
As
I'm
long
not
as
sure
you
what
didn't do that, Phil Tree.
the story was so riveting. My phone just jumped off.
All these guys got their stars at caddies, and that's why in the 1960s you had 10 African American golfers on the PGA Tour, and all of them came through the caddy system. And the thing they were great about, because they were all caddies, they would treat all the caddies there like equals. Lee Elder didn't try to big time anybody. He chipped and take your money on the putting green. I mean, if you would dare to putt him. So it was quite a place. And look, I don't want to talk about being a hotel. We got plenty of other stuff we could talk about.
Well,
I think your mama's story about her coming to your rescue might have eclipsed Tim's story.
I don't know about that.
Right. I don't know though. It's a toss. I don't have any stories like that. So
yes, you do. We'd have to talk to Red.
Rich wouldn't know. You have to talk to my sisters. They don't.
Yeah.
He wouldn't know.
It was and all this stuff is in the book, Tim. It was just really an incredible play. I saw an attempted murder. And it was actually,
is that when you walked in there and were talking when your mom told you to, have some
maybe I was.
I'm so glad Tim and I were there to hear, because it really was an extraordinary event.
Let me just tell this, and we can move on. As much as I run my mouth, I really don't like talking about myself that much. I know it doesn't seem like it, but I was 6 years old. And the great thing about this book, because I thought I knew so much, it was still so much I didn't know.
Mm.
I saw an attempted murder. I was an eyewitness to an attempted murder at Cumberland Golf Course, and I thought it was only me until about 2 months ago. It was a guy named Herman Cheek. His
Should you
name,
be talking about this? Are they going to look you up or
Yeah,
anything?
really.
they both long gone.
Okay.
Okay.
And, and now, and you guys know, violence is never. There's nothing funny about it.
Mm.
But this was funny. I mean,
Well, it was an attempted one, so nobody died,
it
right?
took 60 years for it to be uh, funny. Uh, Herman Cheek played this guy named Coppins. Gambling was really big at the course. So he goes out, he's playing Coppins in a match with $25. Cheek wins the first, second, third, fourth hole. Coffee's like, man, I quit. I quit. So he walks off the course, and back then somebody had to always hold the money to make sure you got paid. So Cheek, the guy who beat him the first four holes, held the money. So he was walking back up. Coffee said, I quit. So give me my money back. $25 now. Cheek is like, this is 63, 64. Cheek's like, nah, I beat you. You quit. I win. So they go around to the front of the clubhouse. And my friend, and he was a caddy, Larry Bowers. Larry's probably, if I'm 7, Larry's 12, 13. Larry's out there watching the whole thing. And they're going back, pay me my money, pay me my money. No. So Coppins pulls a little pistol out, and Cheek goes, okay. So Cheek goes into his pocket, like I'm going in my pocket now, and he pulls out a knife. And Larry said the knife's only like this long. So when he pulls out the knife, Coppins shoots him in the side. And Cheek spins around like a top. And I could see all this red. It was a beautiful, bright day. And I saw this red blood coming out of his side. Coppins gets in the car and speeds down the street. And he's barely outrunning Larry Bowers. Because Larry said, I've never run that fast in my life. Coppins doing 50, Larry's doing 45 down the street on foot behind. But I did not notice until Larry told me this about 2 months ago. And when Larry pulled out the knife and told me when Larry told me about, we both looked at each other and just started laughing. Like, dude, that's not a good decision. Pull out a knife at a gunfight.
Yeah, you never bring a knife to a gunfight.
There you go.
That's like one of the number 1 or 2 rules, right, of fighting.
But to see Larry almost outrun that car was the most hilarious thing. 60 years later. So that's the kind of stuff that went on there
Yeah.
every day. But,
Well,
but anyway, go ahead.
It was like a really accommodating time for Joe and Hazel Hampton. They accommodated people and they really set people up correctly. Like I said, it felt like home. But we want to pivot from Ricky Hampton to other homes and the homecomings. And as we see that
speaking of gunfights
from Nashville, pardon me.
I said, speaking of gunfights.
Oh yes, there were.
Not at our homecoming.
There was none at Jiho. Jiho was an experience. And Tree, why don't you share what that was like?
I mean, people poo-poo the idea it's the greatest homecoming on earth, but it truly is. I mean, stop rolling your eyes. I mean, I'm sure other homecomings are like a family reunion, but this truly feels like families, all ages, generations. Really did a great job with security, felt safe. I didn't go to any of the parties this year, but within the, tailgating area, they have concerts. Just an amazing experience every year. Never disappoints. And I made a friend, a very special friend, a golden retriever. And if you don't know, Ricky, I'm afraid of dogs, but I was surprised when I got to my friend's house. I had this dog there, but I fell in love with this dog, and yeah, we're besties now.
What now? Important. Did you see classmates?
Well, Mike from where I went to school at UNCG, yes, and then I saw people from A&T that I knew from back when I was in school. So UNCG's homecoming is this upcoming weekend, and so one of the good things about that is there's an alumni house on campus, and it has never been named, and there's an African American man who's donated funds to the university, and they're going to rename the alumni house, or actually name it, not rename it, but name it after him. So that's happening this weekend in Greensboro. So I'm thinking about going back for that. But GHO is really a great experience. I look forward to it every year. And next year it will be their 100th um,
Uh,
homecoming. So
So
I
you look
definitely
at
want
it,
to go back to that.
that's a
Mhm.
great experience. And, those are the type of things you want to hear about
Mhm.
homecoming. But in the past couple of weeks, we're hearing the other side of homecoming, and it's a real tragedy that this has to happen.
Mhm.
South Carolina State had shootings at their homecoming 2 weeks ago, and over the weekend, Alcorn had its homecoming, as did Jackson State, and they had shootings on both campuses, and I think there was a fatality with one or the one in Alcorn where a woman was shot to death. Um, uh, and there were two other people that were rushed to the hospital. Uh, the thing about Jackson State, it's not a good thing per se, but
Mhm.
Mississippi Veterans Memorial Stadium, where Jackson State plays, is less than a mile from the main hospital there in Jackson. I mean,
Mhm.
it's right there. They could have walked over to it and taken care of the person who was shot there. But the thing is, uh, why do we do it? And there's some reasons why. One is these things are so open, and another reason is more times than not. And this is making a gross assumption that the people who are causing the problems are not alumni or students or ever went to the school, but maybe somebody was rebuffed by an advance. Maybe there was a beef that was being settled there on campus.
Mhm.
I know that after the Morehouse Tuskegee game in the entertainment district last weekend in Montgomery, there was gunplay. Several semi-automatic weapons were recovered, and none of those kids went to school. They were all under 20. All the people involved in it were under 20, but
Well,
it was
Tim,
in. Hmm?
no, well, I don't like to play the speculation game where maybe it was this or maybe it was that, or they could have walked over to the hospital.
Hmm.
But I mean, it also, I think, and it may have been people were not alums. Um, I don't know if that's been
Oh, they've
reported or
said
not.
that about these were not people who had affiliations with the
But
camp.
did they have tickets to get into the game?
Well, that's the thing. That's my deal. If you pay your money to get in the tailgate, you're going to have people there who are not affiliated with the school. And I don't know how you could stop that, except I know that Morehouse's homecoming is this week against Lane, and you buy tickets in advance, and you're going to have to go through these metal detectors, these mag things um, that will detect, all kinds of metal. I think it's, the clear bag policy, the whole
Hmm.
9 yards.
Hmm.
But not everybody has that. I saw a photo today of last year's Howard's homecoming,
Hmm.
and it was like one big black square with tents above it. It's like I could not see where people could actually move in that area, in that space. But that's what homecoming is. That's what it's become now. And I
Hmm.
know that Morehouse has raised its ticket prices by $20 this year.
Hmm.
I don't know if that's to try to weed out people or discourage folks, uh, but security is going to be tight at all these homecomings. As it is now, you used to be able to sit out there and just hang out all night. They have curfews now. pretty much when the sun goes down, you got to be up out of here. It's going to be around like 7 or 8 o'clock at night. There will be none of this lingering on campus afterwards. So people are making these changes because, at the end of the day, the school's reputation is hurt. Even if it's something that happens 2 or 3 miles from the school, the news story will be, that it happened near your campus.
Right. You remember last year, TSU, for the homecoming parade, there was a shooting. It wasn't on campus. It was near TSU campus. It was after the parade, but close enough when they mentioned the parade. And the people had nothing to do with Tennessee State.
Right.
And
they'll
I'm
throw
guys.
they'll throw that map up there with TSU's campus and show where the shooting was, and make people, people to draw their own conclusions, which are false.
But I mean, almost anytime you get a bunch of people together nowadays, people are strapped. There are just so many freaking guns out there, and then you get alcohol and what other substance you might use to get high. I mean, you just asking for trouble. You remember what it was 2 years ago at the Chiefs homecoming, Chiefs Super Bowl parade.
Right.
That was a shooting. You just can't get a lot of people together.
You can't. And all that stuff trumps what happens on the football field and that kind of thing. Because the SWAC had a great game where Alabama State and Jackson State played, and Jackson State had a goal line stand. The last play of the game kept Alabama State out of the end zone to keep JSU to be one of the top team in the SWAC. Nobody was talking about that kind of stuff,
and that has really become a rivalry now.
Oh, absolutely, it has been. And so, those are the type of things people should be talking about, as opposed to the other stuff that's going on. The MEAC has a great story this year in Delaware State. Deshaun Jackson, former NFL player, is a first-year head coach. They have a really great winning record this year, and they beat Southern Connecticut State 70-23 this past weekend. They've been putting up big numbers.
Wow.
And on the other end, the guy that used to throw him the ball is not having such a good year over at Norfolk State, where Michael Vick's team is playing. As a matter of fact, Michael Vick fired upwards of 3 coaches behind this really sluggish start. But nonetheless, Michael Vick's name was attached to that program. So when Howard plays for Norfolk State in D.C., they're not going to play at Howard Stadium, which only has, I think, seats on one side, and they have no concession stands. They have just food trucks on the home field side. They're going to move that, and they're going to play at Audi Field, whereas the Major League Soccer team plays, which probably seats around 20, 30,000 people. If I'm not if I don't have the attendance right, but nonetheless, a bigger venue.
That's where the UFL team played, I believe.
Yeah, it's in November 22nd is the game, and it's going to be on ESPN. So these schools are getting exposure. Jackson State, Alabama State was on ESPN. So when you have these really great games and great personalities, it just speaks well for HBCUs. But those things get really overshadowed by the foolishness off the field. And so people want to really be mindful of that, when they're out and about, and, keep your head on the swivel and all those type of things. In the SIAC, Benedict is 6-0, and they stayed that way. They did a trickeration on a double reverse pass to win their game over, I think it was Clark this weekend, to stay undefeated. And the Fighting Maroons of Morehouse College.
Yes, sir.
I don't want to diminish their victory, but Central State had several players and I think coach suspended because of a brawl they got into after the Fort Valley game last week. So they were playing kind of shorthanded, but nonetheless, you still got to wrap it up. And so Morehouse is now 2-0. I think the past 2 years they won only 2 games, and that was always beating Clark at the end of the season. So they're on a roll. They could be 3-0 against coming into Lane at homecoming this weekend.
Led by Terrence Mathis, friend of the show now.
Friend of the show, former Falcon. And
What's your prediction for Morehouse and Savannah State?
oh, it'll be after they beat Lane this week. They're going to take out Savannah State because Savannah State is a Stinkos team this year. That makes me happy.
And Morehouse's team is a what then?
They're okay, but the issue is because Morehouse has been so bad over the years. Savannah State is playing them for homecoming, so they'll be duly jacked up for that.
Tim, did you see how Tree throws that sly shade to you, man?
I saw that, but that's okay.
She does it so gently.
I'm just curious what his prediction is. He knows sports and stuff.
I know sports and stuff, but yeah, Alabama State is not Alabama State, but Savannah State is not having the year they have had in the past.
Well, then they let their coach go, right?
I think they did.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of them having to right their ship this year. They might have been off this weekend. They won in overtime. They kicked a field goal in OT to beat Allen. They scored first. They kicked the field goal. Allen got the ball and fumbled, and Savannah State recovered. So that's how they won that game. So hats off.
The point is they won.
And you know who really won the week, guys? And I'm kind of jumping over here. You talking about letting the coaches go. James Franklin won the week, man.
Oh yeah.
He won the week, Tree. He gets fired, and they give him $50 million to go.
I would take that. Yes.
I would take that.
I would take
those bills will make a nice comfy couch and pillow while I sit there and watch other people beat their brains out on Saturday. I'm sitting there counting my money.
Yeah, but
I know a lot of coaches get seems more so being let go early in the season, mid-season after losses.
Great.
But back in the day, they didn't do that, right? They just kind of hung on to them.
They hung with you. They hung with you.
Yeah, it's
And
like now.
there weren't these massive buyouts because that was his buyout. I'm thinking about the coach at Notre Dame several years ago who really didn't have to work ever again. I'm thinking because he got let go by the Irish, but it was like his severance was so huge. They probably are still paying him. It feels like a Bobby Bonilla type thing.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Yeah, but Tree brings up a good point, Tim, and I think college athletics is so competitive now with all the money being spent on programs that there's a lot of pressure from boosters because now they are part of the game now. They are, hey, man, I'm giving you all this money, and this coach ain't doing jack.
How long do you think Belichick's going to be at Chapel Hill?
They're already talking about buyout. He's talking about buyout.
Oh, wow. Okay. He's like, I'm done with this.
Yes. The story says if he could find himself a landing spot with another coaching gig or maybe television, he'll trigger his $1 million buyout. He don't have a $50 million buyout like Franklin does, but he has this clause, I think, in his contract. I think that's the story. But it hasn't gone as people thought it would go at Carolina for him. But the thing about Franklin is when you can't win the games that people want you to win, that's when it becomes a problem.
Yeah.
Tree sat up there and watched UCLA beat Penn State 2 weeks ago. And then he lost this week to Northwestern. So he lost to two teams there was no way they should have lost to. And I think it was them and somebody else fell totally out of the rankings. They were Texas and they both were looking to be like they were 1 and 2 preseason, and both of them are gone. So
does the portal have an impact on that? Is it not just the coaching? Is it the portal and the players not being?
I think what it is that there's so much more scrutiny than to have ABC, CBS, NBC. You got every kind of cable sports station. Everybody's got a podcast. Everybody's got a cell phone. Everybody's got a radio show.
Everybody's got you get what you get, right?
Yeah, exactly. there's nobody getting away with anything now. Franklin, you can see it if it's like one or two voices, but when you have hundreds of voices and you have these billboards, not billboards, these boards that they talk, these fans have on these web pages who just excoriating the guy because he lost in some games he shouldn't have lost.
Yeah,
it's the same with Ohio State, Michigan. Ohio State can win all their games, but when they lose to Michigan at the end of the year, that's a problem.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
And man, he just should not lose to Northwestern.
Right, and that's the one that killed him. Okay, UCLA, you slipped up and had a bad game out in California. You traveled far. You traveled across the country for the Big Ten game. You traveled across the country.
So they were sleepy. Maybe they were sleepy.
You know what? Franklin is going to be an opening at Michigan State because Jonathan Smith is not getting anything done there. You know what? He could go there and win 8 games, and they'd be happy with him at Michigan State. You win 7 or 8 games and beat Michigan every once in a while. You're in good stead because Michigan's like a second-tier level team in the Big Ten. They've never been able to stay at the upper level of the Big Ten for a while, over the years. So maybe he'll end up there, or maybe he'll go home and count his money, guy. $50 million.
I don't have a problem with sitting up there doing that.
I could sit back for a while on that, forever.
But Hugh Freeze probably is feeling that way over there at Auburn because of the Georgia game this past weekend.
Oh my gosh!
And they got. You as a head coach, you tell your kids, just do what we tell you to do the things the right way, and you're going to be successful. And you're going to, the chances of you winning are great. But, this fumble call here on the goal line, when you look at the quarterback, it looks like he's over the line, but you see the ball is popped out. I always thought that if the ball, if that much of the ball got over the goal line, it's a touchdown.
I thought so too.
The referees, and see, there's the line.
I saw it. I was looking at the video earlier. I was like, well, he's crossed the plane, right? So
yes.
But
how was that?
First of all, shout out to Dog Nation because this is an incredible shot of that play.
Yeah, I mean, here's the ball, and
it's over the line.
Over the goal line.
Yeah, I saw that. And they said no. They said no.
No, it didn't. So Georgia got the ball. Okay, that's one. Rick, you got the other one queued up?
I did.
Yeah. When is clapping your hands?
Come on. I love you, Kirby. I love you, Kirby.
He's believing in peanut butter. He said he's clapping his hands.
I love you, Kirby. But come on.
Is that when he took his shirt off? That?
All right, the SEC refs were already on an absolute teeter yesterday, or should I say bender, because it felt like they were drunk.
Well, here it is. This is a nice little.
And I don't know how they called an illegal procedure on this fake punt. Maybe it's because South Carolina didn't give LSU time to substitute, but whatever, they threw a flag and called it back. But that's not even what I'm mad about. What's even more disgusting is right after this, Mason Love hits an absolute dong shot, and we can see clear as day the ball hit at the 15, then again at the 6 before passing by the ref out of bounds. This should be an.
I know Tim hates seeing punters getting screwed over.
That's right.
This guy did on this punt.
Easy marked punt out at the 5 or 6 yard line as we get pretty clear proof that the ball went out somewhere in that area, no real questions to be asked. But no, the refs just spot LSU 2 to 3 yards, which just as a punter pisses me off. But the Georgia game is much worse. First of all, I'm not even going to say that Auburn scored. It's really close. I think the ball actually did come out. But how, as a ref, are you going to blow this play dead as the ball is clearly fumbled before he was down? You have to at least let that play out. give Georgia the touchdown, and then go review it. But that's not all. We also get a targeting call, which they say with him launching at the head or neck, when clearly we see that he's launching at the mid-torso area before the quarterback comes back down and kind of hits his upper chest. And man, I'm just not jealous of any defensive player trying to make a tackle in 2025, especially as later on the same drive, they call a pretty weak roughing the passer on a guy who's chasing down a quarterback who's scrambling. But the most egregious thing I've ever seen is when the clock is running down, Kirby Smart sprints to go call a timeout, which is pretty normal. But then the most deplorable, grimy thing I've ever seen a head coach do is he goes and tells the ref directly to his face that he wasn't trying to call a timeout. He was just clapping, trying to get them to hurry up. Now, I really hope the SEC finds him for this, because gaslighting the ref as a head coach is just lame, for a lack of better word. I mean, I hate to overreact, and maybe I just like fair play a little bit too much, but it really riles me up that as a head coach, you would have this little integrity.
Here. This right here is not this. I'm like, oh my gosh. Don't they have a several $1 million replay screen? They should have just kept showing Kirby doing this for the rest of the game on the screen.
Hey man, I think he's the best college coach going today. But brother, I can't be with you on this one. Come on, man.
Come on.
You know
He said he was not doing a timeout. He was just clapping.
Yes.
Is that right?
He was clapping. Because in Georgia, when they snap the ball, they clap their hands.
Mm-hmm.
But
where did they play Florida? Where did they play Florida? When did they play Florida?
I think in 2 weeks. Because this week they got a tough one this weekend in Athens. They play an Ole Miss. And I think Ole Miss
just devours each other. That's the only thing about being a great conference. It just kill each other, man.
Right.
But when they play Florida, he's gonna hear that when he gets to Florida.
Oh, yeah. Well, see, when in Florida they do this Gator thing.
Yeah.
not that.
Hey man, it's time to get out of here. Hey, thanks for asking me about the book and Cumberland Rising, which you'll hear more about as the year goes off. And thank you guys for coming. It was a great day. Fantastic turnout. I couldn't ask for more.
Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you, sir. It was fun.
And we will be back here next Tuesday for my great friend Tim MdDougal and Turner and Rick Hampton. Have a great evening, everybody.
All right. Be kind, everybody.